Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I hope you're doing well. Well, I was at about age 22, and one night my friends and I went out to a party. We went out to a birthday party to celebrate a friend's 21st birthday, and when we left the party, I walked outside, I crossed the street, and from out of nowhere, I got jumped. I got jumped by 6 guys. These 6 guys had cricket bats, cricket stumps, and a stolen car, and they tried to beat me up. They almost killed me, and it was a traumatic moment. They beat me so bad that they broke my arm, and then I ended up in hospital with an operation, and you might be able to see the scar here. They left me with a broken arm, and I had 2 plates and 4 pins put in the arm. And for me, that was a very traumatic experience. For many years, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel confident going out. And I was always worried and on this high alert that something like that was going to happen again. Now, I don't know if the same thing has happened to you, but a lot of people have experienced a trauma. So I'd like to ask you, have you experienced a trauma? Have you been in a moment in your life that was totally unexpected? Something that was dramatic, something that you felt isolated and you didn't know how to deal with it. Well, if you've ever been through one of those moments, we call those a trauma. And what I'd like to do today is I'd like to point out and share with you about 14 different traumas that people are going through. The reason why it's so important to understand these traumas is because an unresolved trauma, something that's happened in the past, can hold us back significantly as we try to get results in our life today. So if you're joining me on the live, say hello. If you're joining me on the replay, don't be a stranger, say hello. So let's go through this. Now, these are examples of a trauma. If you have been through bankruptcy or your family has been through bankruptcy, this is a significant trauma and it scars you for life. If you're a mother or a father and you've had a death of a child, if you've lost one of your friends or a family member, a lot of people have lost family members during COVID-19. This could really impact you. Maybe you've lost your job. A lot of people, because we put so much time and energy into our jobs. The average person works 2,000 hours a year. Imagine that. We work 2,000 hours per year. And when we lose our job, this is a traumatic moment. We lose our financial security. We lose our career security. We lose our relationships, those people that we've become friends with. In addition, the divorce of our parents. Now, as you know, 50% of relationships, marriages, they fail. However, it is a traumatic experience for the child. If the child is under the age of 10, it's traumatic. If the child's under the age of 20, it's traumatic. I know people today, their parents are getting divorced and these people are now in their 30s and it's still traumatic for them. When your parents separate, it leaves emotional scarring and you actually stop trusting other people. If you've been a victim of domestic violence, this is a trauma. If you've experienced emotional, physical, sexual, and spiritual abuse, this is a trauma. And what we tend to do to deal with these traumas, we tend to repress them. We tend to push them. You know that little spot you've got? That little place in your mind where you put all those things that you don't want to deal with at the moment? Kind of somewhere over the corner there. You start to repress these things. However, with this repression of this abuse, the repression of these events does not solve the events. That's what you've got to remember. Just because you've taken something and you've repressed it and you've put it outside of your awareness, it doesn't solve the problem. Sometimes people say they've been in a relationship and they've been dating a narcissist. They've been married to a narcissistic person. This is a traumatic experience. And I want you to consider these because if you've been in an emotionally abusive, physically abusive, sexually abusive, or spiritually abusive environment, then you'll be carrying emotional scarring. Riza, good afternoon. Hello all the way there from Philippines. Kumusta, Mare? How do we say? I've got to remember these words, Riza. Maganda. There we go. Hello, Maganda. I hope you're doing well. If you've ever failed, it doesn't matter if you're young or if you've failed now. failure comes with a traumatic experience. And I'll give you an example. You set a goal. When you set a goal, your hopes are high. You're looking out into the future and you're imagining your new life. You're seeing your new friends, your new opportunities, your new way of living, your new income levels. And you start to buy into that dream. You start to buy into it emotionally. On the way to your goal, you also start to put resources into the attainment of those goals. You start to put time into achieving that goal. You start to put money into developing yourself and buying things that can help you achieve that goal faster. And when you fail, it feels like you have lost everything. And failure of a goal evokes guilt. It also evokes a fear of failure, because in the future you might say, I don't want to try and fail all over again. Now, if you're joining me live, don't be a stranger, say hello. If you're joining me on the replay, say hello. I want to hear from you. Is this making sense to you so far? Now, another traumatic experience is heartbreak and separation. And the truth is, you can actually die from heartbreak. You know, older people in the community, once their husband or their wife dies, oftentimes within 7 days, they'll be dead. They will drop dead. And they can drop dead of a broken heart. But maybe you broke up with your childhood lover and they cheated on you. They took advantage of you. They lied to you. They deceived you and they broke your heart. And because they broke your heart, it makes it very hard for you to trust in the future. Alvin, good afternoon. Wonderful to meet you there, my friend. Thank you for joining me. So a heartbreak or a separation from a relationship is a traumatic experience. If you've ever been imprisoned, this is a traumatic experience. I have worked with many people who have been put in prison, both guilty and not guilty, and either way, it is a traumatic experience. One of the greatest punishments that you can put on a human is isolation. And once you're in prison, you are isolated from everything that you know. You have been isolated from the outer world. And you may be in isolation for an extended period of time. And that is a traumatic experience. If you've ever had a serious injury or illness, this is a traumatic experience. My wife, she's had 2 children. And I'll tell you what, pregnancy and childbirth is not what it looks like in Hollywood. It's a painful experience. I remember for months, she was not able to sleep properly. I remember even when it came time to deliver cup noodles, Nikita. She was in labour for 23 hours. We thought she was going to die in labour. We thought we were going to lose Nikita during the birth. That's how traumatic it was. So this scars us mentally and emotionally. If you've ever had to say goodbye, if you've ever been to the airport and you've had to say farewell, and you've had to leave your home country in pursuit of excellence, to pursue new goals, to create a better life for your family, saying goodbye is a traumatic experience. I remember when I was about 7, my dog got run over. And what do we say? A dog is a man's best friend. It's also a lady's best friend, or maybe it's a cat. Either way, my dog passed away, and it was a traumatic experience. I loved that dog. That dog was my pet. It was my best friend. I had trained it. It took care of me. And then one day it got hit by a car, and I had to say goodbye. I had to dig a hole. I had to bury that dog. And for me, that scarred me for a long time. And a lot of adults today, they're still experiencing trauma today from saying goodbye to a loved one, which includes a pet, or they've had to say goodbye to others. Experiencing sexual difficulties is a trauma. Having an unplanned pregnancy or an abortion is traumatic. It's not only traumatic for the female, it's also traumatic for the male. It can also be traumatizing for the child. I know women who didn't realize they were pregnant until the 8th month of pregnancy. It was a shock for the family. It was a shock for the individual. And it was also a shock for the child because nobody was expecting it. Nobody was prepared. And in addition, if you've been a victim of crime, this is a traumatic experience. As I mentioned before, I got beaten up by 6 people. They tried to kill me. They had baseball bats. They were ready to do harm. I was just lucky that after they broke my arm, I ran away, and then finally the police came. I was lucky, but other people haven't been so lucky. Wife, good afternoon. You should be at work, wife. Why are you watching my Facebook? You should be at work. So this is trauma, ladies and gentlemen. And if you've ever experienced a trauma, today you may have a feeling of, I feel stuck and don't know what to do next. If you have that feeling of, I feel stuck and I don't know what to do next, then we're going to be talking about this topic today. We're going to be talking about this topic today at 1 p.m. local time in Taiwan. I'm going to be doing a live stream for an entire hour, and I'm bringing in a very good friend of mine, Lina, an expert in this field, and we're going to be talking about trauma. So if you have that feeling of, I feel stuck and don't know what to do next, then I want you to reach out to me personally. I want you to message me, say, Daniel, I'm stuck and I don't know what to do next. And what I'll do is I'm going to give you some resources that will help you get unstuck. So if you need support, if you feel stuck and don't know what to do next, message me today and I'll make sure I get some free resources to you. If you're watching me live, message me now. If you're watching on the replay, message me and I'll send you some resources. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 p.m. today, I'll be going live for a whole hour. I'll see you soon. Ciao for now.